it's Haley, and today I'm going to be doing my July wrap-up. So you may or may not have noticed that everything in my room has changed. I guess it wouldn't really make too much of a difference to you, but my bookshelves used to be on the wall that I'm facing right now, but now they are obviously on this wall here. And basically this whole entire move happened because I wanted to have my desk underneath these shelves here so that I can have like my textbooks and my binders just there, and it would be a really nice study space. But the problem with this setup is that the lighting, no matter where I stand in my room, is awful. If I stand on that side of the room, then I'm too far away from the window, so I'm all dark. But if I stand here in front of the window, then the background is dark. Because my bookshelves are so far away from the window now that they're not getting any window light, and they just look really bad, and I don't know what to do. So I've been trying for an hour now to find perfect lighting, and it is just such an impossible pursuit that we're just gonna put up with it. Hopefully I'll be able to find some good lighting. If you guys have any suggestions, that would be really helpful. I just need, basically my issue right now is that I don't want the background to be so dark and so yellow because I just think it looks so bad. But anyways, I'm just going to get into what I read in the month of August. And also, if you guys wanted me to do a little tour of these shelves right here, I'd be happy to do that for you. I really enjoy how they turned out, so that could be a fun video. Let me know if you would enjoy that. So in August I didn't really read a lot, and I'm fine with that. Everything that I read during the booktubeathon, other than like 2 or 3 books. I was just so busy. I was working, and then I was getting ready for my trip, and then I was on my trip, and I didn't do any reading while I was away. So all of the reading that I got done was thanks to the booktubeathon. So the first book that I finished is Half Bad by Sally Green. This one I actually didn't read during the booktubeathon, but I read it right before. I listened to the audiobook, and I actually enjoyed it a lot more than I was anticipating. I had heard such mixed things about this book that I wasn't sure how I was going to enjoy it. I knew the only things that I really knew about it was that it was a YA and it was about witches, and that the main character has been in a cage and they're half white witch and half black witch. I think that's what it is. I read this at the beginning of the month, and it honestly feels like I read it like a year ago. But the point of the story is that I did really enjoy it. I think because I listened to the audiobook, I enjoyed it more. I think if I had actually sat down and read it, I wouldn't have enjoyed it that much. But I found it to be a really interesting story and very unique, and I'm not sure if I'm going to continue with the series, but I did find this one really enjoyable and just intriguing, I guess. I think I ended up giving this book a 4 out of 5 stars. The next book that I read for the booktubeathon, and that is Extraordinary Means by Robin Schneider. I'm not going to go too deeply into this book because I do have a review up which will be linked down below for you guys. You'll get more coherent thoughts since clearly I'm having trouble articulating myself right now. But I had some pretty high expectations for this book since it is so similar to Tiffios, except it's kind of a romance that has to deal with tuberculosis instead. But I was really let down by it. I thought it was trying way too hard, and I ended up giving it a 2.5, maybe a 3 out of 5 stars. The next book that I read for booktubeathon was Entwined by Heather Dixon. This is a retelling of the 12 Dancing Princesses fairy tale. I forget who that fairy tale is by, but I really enjoyed this. It really surprised me because I had been debating for a while unhauling this because I hadn't heard that great of things about it, and I honestly only had it because this cover is gorgeous, but I'm really glad I didn't because I enjoyed it so much. I really loved the fairy tale aspect of it. I loved the sisters and kind of the idea of sisterhood and family and how important that is, and just coming together. I thought it was a fantastic book, and I would definitely recommend it to you guys. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. The next book that I read is Vampire Academy by Rochelle Mead. Yes, I finally read it. Really mixed feelings about it. I didn't love it. I just kind of thought it was okay. And I know people keep on saying that the series gets better, and I will probably end up continuing the series. I'm just not really in a rush to read it. I watched the movie also, and the movie was horrible. I thought the movie was so bad, and it made me just like not want to continue with the series. But I probably will eventually once I get a hold of the rest of the books. It's just not really #1 on my list. I know a lot of people love this series, but I just thought it was okay. The next book that I picked up was The Disenchantments by Nina LaCour, and I had pretty high expectations for this one because I read Everything Leads to You earlier this year, and I really loved it. I thought it was such a great story, but this one kind of was a little bit of a letdown. I thought it was just unrealistic at times. I do have a review up for it, so I'm not going to say too much, and I'll link the review down below for you guys, but I just thought it was unrealistic and it was kind of trying too hard once again to be like memorable or philosophical. It was kind of like the cliche of the teens that everyone wants to be because they're so quirky and cool, and I just thought it was really unrealistic. So I ended up giving this one, I think, a 3.5, maybe a 4 out of 5 stars, something around that. Then after that, I picked up Mr. Penumbra's 24-Hour Bookstore by Robin Sloan. This one I thought was good. I wasn't really wowed by it. I did think the storyline was interesting and kind of really unique, but it didn't really grasp me. I wasn't like fully invested in the story or the characters. I think I ended up giving this one a 3 out of 5 stars as well. I think, maybe. I don't really remember what I rated any of these. Then I picked up How I Live Now by Meg Rossoff. I watched the movie for this one as well, and I did like it. I gave it, I think, a 4 out of 5 stars, maybe 3.5. I didn't love it. It was really weird and interesting, and it was a really impactful story, and it was kind of scary because it's really like something that could happen, like nuclear warfare, so it was kind of scary in that way, but I did enjoy it. I just found the writing style not to be in like my taste. It's very different, and it just wasn't a kind of writing style that I enjoy reading, so I'm sure a lot of people will really love the writing style, but it just wasn't really for me. Then after the booktubeathon, I decided to get a head start on my school reading, so I picked up The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn by Mark Twain. I thought this book was good, but it wasn't really like my favorite ever. I think I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. It just wasn't one of those classics that really appeals to me so much. I don't really like the whole like when they're written in like southern slang. I'm not really into that, but I do see why it's a classic. It has a lot of things going for it, and I'm just glad I kind of got reading it out of the way. Now this month I'm actually only doing a top 2. Now for my top 3 favorites of the month, coming in at number 3 is Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children by Ransom Riggs, the graphic novel. I picked this up from the library as kind of an emergency graphic novel for if I was running behind for the booktubeathon, so I ended up picking it up because I was running a little bit behind, and I ended up really enjoying it. I thought the art style was really cool and unique, and it really fit the tone of the story, and I really just loved being back in that world again. So I gave this one a 5 out of 5 stars. Then I'm gonna say tied for number 1 and 2 because I really can't choose. I have Ice Like Fire by Sarah Rosh and Codename Verity by Elizabeth Wine. I think it's Wine. People just pronounce it differently, so I don't know. But this one I got an ARC of, obviously. It comes out October 14th, I believe. If I'm incorrect about that, I'll correct myself, but I love this book. It was the second book in the Snow Like Ashes trilogy by Sarah Rosh, and I'm so glad I got to read this. I thought it was so fantastic. I'll obviously have a review coming out for it closer to the release date. It was just so good. It took the story to a whole next level because it wasn't really focused on the romance. It took more of a turn for like the political aspects and the magical, and I really loved it, so I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars, obviously. In this book I actually read for the booktubeathon, and I ended up, I was reading it, just like actually reading it, but then I decided to pick up the audiobook, and I'm so glad I did because I don't think I would have enjoyed it as much if I had just been like reading it like this, because it's a very dense book. Like you can see there's not much conversation going on in here, so it's really just page after page of like writing, and the way the story is told is just so cool. It's about a girl who is a British spy, and she crashes into Nazi-occupied France, so then she's taken in for questioning, and it's just, the way the story is told is honestly so cool. I don't want to give too much away, but you honestly need to pick up this book if you love historical fiction. Even if you don't, I think you will really enjoy this. It's such an impactful story, and it gives you a completely different look at World War II. Like, you don't normally get historical fiction that doesn't have to do with like the Jewish aspect of World War II. This one, it deals with like British spy planes and all that, pilots, all that stuff. It deals with the women of World War II. I just thought it was so interesting and so cool, and I'm having so much trouble articulating why I loved it so much, but it was honestly, it's a story about friendship and love and being like a strong person, and it was just so amazing. I cannot recommend this book enough. I loved it. And I obviously gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. So those are all the books that I read in August. Let me know what you guys read in August. I can't believe that it's already September and I'm starting school. I will have a September TBR up soon. I'm not sure when. I'm kind of waiting for my profs to like put out reading lists so then I know if I have any school reading to do in September, which I probably will. But yeah, I don't know. And also, like I said, let me know if you do want a tour of these little shelves right here. I will be doing a bookshelf tour, but I'll be doing that in January. Every now and again someone asks for that, but I always do an updated one in January, like the first week of January, so you'll see that then. But if you do want a tour of these little shelves, I would be happy to do that for you guys. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!